You are live on the Big Uglies. Welcome, everybody.
What up?
And by everybody, I just mean Big Spit. Welcome, Big Spit. The most offensive lineman
That's
in
it.
all of sports commentary.
That's it.
Listen, it wouldn't be a football show if we didn't open up talking about the great white hype, Jalen Hurts. No.
Is that this week?
That's one of the things that I kind of want to. Well, this is what. Okay, so obviously anybody who's a football fan knows that the football world is ablaze right now with the. We told you Carson Wentz sucked. We told you he was terrible. We told you Jalen Hurts was the greatest quarterback of all time. We just told you today. And this is what I'm talking about. It's like these are all the headlines about Jalen Hurts today. Jalen Hurts, only quarterback in the last 70 years to accomplish this feat in his first career start. You
gotta love the subheading that's under it too. Hurts did something no quarterback has done since at least 1950.
Well, I don't know. That could be a lot of records. What did he do? Sit in a restaurant he wasn't supposed to? I mean,
and that's how we kicked it off, episode 2.
Yeah, I mean, he drank from a water fountain he was forbidden to drink from. I mean, this is what pisses me off about the Jalen Hurts narrative the most. Number one, love Jalen Hurts in college. I thought he got a raw deal at Alabama. I thought he was the best, and people deny this. They think it's me being a revisionist Eagles homer, but I thought Jalen Hurts was the best quarterback coming out in the draft this year for a lot of the same reasons that I thought Lamar Jackson was the best quarterback coming out of the draft in his year. I just have this feeling that every time scouts in the NFL say that a guy maybe isn't a quarterback in this league who was clearly a quarterback in the highest level of Division I football in college, I just have a feeling that guy's going to do fine. They said it about Vic. They said it about Vic. They said it about Lamar Jackson. They said about Jalen Hurts. They were like, he should go to the combine and work out as a running back.
I don't know why they do this. And you know what it is. You know it's that tinge of racism that's in it. But I don't know.
That's still around from the Cordell Stewart days.
I have no idea why they don't think these black quarterbacks are the capable leaders at the next level. It's like, well, as soon as we give them a check, there's no way. I mean, sure they can do it. I mean, they can do it for free, but I mean, you saw Dak Prescott, man. I tried to. That's why we didn't pay him. Here he goes at the next level. He wants like $40 million. What is he, leading a franchise or something?
Yeah, it's just what is he? Quarterbacking America's team? Who does he think he is? Does he think he's the head cowboy? I mean, you could be a cowboy, but you ain't the sheriff, okay? I mean, this is what drives me nuts about that narrative, and it is rooted in the old. Listen, if you go back and put on a tape of Cordell Stewart in his prime, that motherfucker is a top 5 quarterback in the league today, the way the game is played today. And I remember even when he was like winning playoff games, they were like, he might actually just be a wide receiver. He might be better as a wide receiver. Remember, they wanted to bench Cordell Stewart for Tommy Maddox, and that happened. Remember that?
But your team has a history of this too.
They're horrible.
Remember all the takes against Donovan McNabb? Some of them had to be were rooted in that same sort of like, come on, he doesn't even know what he's doing out there. Like, really? Is that what we're gonna do? You're gonna challenge his IQ because he threw a pick?
Yeah.
Like,
my favorite
enough to throw an out route. Is that what you're telling me?
2006, and this is kind of what bothers me about what becomes the narratives of quarterbacks, and particularly black quarterbacks historically in the NFL. Donovan McNabb gets injured. Jeff Garcia, who was in the waste paper bin, they pull him out of the bin. He starts a few games. He wins a playoff game in Philadelphia, and then going into the offseason, there's this narrative of Jeff Garcia might be better suited to lead this team. Better suited to lead this team, which is just like this 42-year-old guy built like a kicker might be better suited to lead this team, meaning he might be white enough to win a championship. That was the narrative.
And he was a gay Latino. He wasn't even a he wasn't even a white guy.
Yes, he was the first openly gay quarterback to have not come out. He played at San Jose State. I mean,
he was the 49er.
What is the San Jose State logo? The butt pirate? What is it?
The banana slugs, right? I swear to God, isn't that them?
I don't know. Let's look it up. San Jose State mascot.
Banana slugs.
Sammy the Spartan. Oh yeah. Let's see.
Spartans? I thought they were the banana slugs. Who's the banana slug?
Here he is. Hold on. This is him. This is Sammy the Spartan. Let me pull it up. Sammy the Spartan. There he is. Look, he's pointing at you to suck him dry.
He even looks like Jeff Garcia in the face, doesn't
he? He looks like the cock knocker villain from Jay and Silent Bob.
That's what he does.
This was Jeff Garcia. Do you remember Jeff Garcia's press conferences? Just, I thought the line played real well today. There he is, Jeff Garcia. Look at that. This is him leading.
Hand on the ball.
This is him ready to lead.
Because he was a cracker.
Look at this. This is how he spikes. It literally looks like he just emptied his bag.
Look at that. That headline, though. Ex-49ers quarterback Jeff Garcia growing impatient. That's probably an Eagles headline.
Yeah, more than likely. Click
that shit. Click that garbage, bro. I bet it's that shit. Growing impatient. What, sitting behind?
Oh, has some advice for 49ers quarterback Brian Hoyer. No, this is commentary, Jeff Garcia. He's probably growing impatient because nobody will come along. Oh, look at this. We're already into the vaccine talk. He's growing impatient because no one has come along and fucked him today. That's his problem. Look at him. Look at this is him. This is Coach Jeff Garcia. Look at the way this man is built. He looks like Hugo Weaving from The Matrix, Agent Smith. So, you want to be a quarterback, do you?
This looks like Rorschach is trying out for the Rams.
Look at him. Hands on his hips. What the fuck? Tampa Bay, what the fuck?
Seriously?
Seriously? Look at that picture with his hands on his hips.
Seriously?
Yeah. Seriously?
Seriously?
Tampa Bay, that's where I'm at. Tampa?
That's a first down.
I'm not.
Seriously? Look at the one where he's standing. They have the whole where it's zoomed out.
Yeah.
Look at that one.
Just this one. This one, I don't know what's happening here. Right here.
He just scored a touchdown.
It's this one. He just look at his face.
Look at the three
Garcia. Are you not entertained?
On the right, look at the related images. Look at the two under that. He just has his hand up like, yeah, I know, I suck.
It's just so terrible. But there was a time where Philadelphia sports media was like, maybe Jeff Garcia is the right guy for this Eagles team. Maybe he takes to the coaching. He's so well. He's articulate. I mean, they start saying the old racist shit from back in the day, and you just go like, Donovan McNabb was never beloved in Philadelphia the way that other quarterbacks were when they played because he was just the wrong skin color. Like,
I lived in Philly in 2005, 2006. Bro, they were mean to Donovan, dude.
They acted like he wasn't. This is what pisses me off. And this is the same thing that's happening to Carson Wentz right now in Philadelphia. The Philadelphia Eagles failed to give Donovan McNabb even a marginal wide receiver in his entire career.
T.O.
And the one season they give him T.O., they walked. Do you remember that season? They walked into the Super Bowl. They made it look easy. I mean, what did T.O. catch 16 touchdowns that season in the regular season?
That was T.O.'s first season on the Eagles?
First season on the Eagles, 2005.
And then he broke his leg.
Missed the final 3 regular season games and all the playoff games. Comes in the Super Bowl.
Later, played in the Super Bowl
the Super Bowl, got 100+ yards receiving and I think multiple touchdowns on a broken fucking leg. And
the other thing is too, didn't they lose to the Tom Brady Belichick Patriots and who went on to have the 20-year run in the NFL
of dynasties?
Yeah. So they're like, dude, Donovan choked. He'd be like, oh, or he lost to the greatest coach and quarterback combination in the history of football.
Of modern era. Well, in all of all time. It's not even of the modern era.
To be like, to say that that like Donovan was a choke artist, or to say that he was
he
this like
threw up in the Super Bowl. Remember that narrative?
as if T.O.'s wasn't getting the ball from him though. It was like, look, T.O. balled out. How come Donovan couldn't? And be like, who do you think was throwing him the ball?
You know, and this is why I hate Philadelphia sports fans, is because in this time of Jalen Hurts, what do people say? They don't go, Jalen Hurts is a really talented quarterback, and maybe he was undervalued going into the draft, and maybe the Eagles are smart to take him in the second round because he's a first-round talent. No. You know what they say? We never should have got rid of Nick Foles in the first place. Oh, you mean Nick Foles, who's fucking not gotten off the pine since he left Philadelphia?
Wow. Nick Foles carried him to the Super Bowl. Were you playing? Did you watch the Super Bowl, buddy?
Yeah. I think we all know that he's inhabited by the ghost of Joe Montana. Okay.
But check this out. Okay.
Check it out, or you want me to check it out? You want me to check it out or
fucking did. Tom Brady try to do Philly special. What happened to him?
Yeah, he fell flat on his dick. Yeah, he's tripped on his own dick.
Flat on his fucking dick.
Yeah.
What happened when old Nick Foles did it, though?
Yeah, now he caught a touchdown. Yeah, he set the single season yard for receiving in a Super Bowl play.
Caught a touchdown.
It's like, it's just stupid shit. What, he go down Jacksonville and he ain't played a single game and he lost his job to Gardner Minshew? Yeah, let me tell you this.
No, he didn't. Where was he at?
Yeah, we didn't.
The bench.
Last year, Nick Foles couldn't beat out a guy whose name is a job that no one wants to do. Gardner Minshew. You lost to a 6th round draft. You lost your job. And Carson Wentz threw for 4,000 yards with no receiver over 500 yards. You know how many other quarterbacks have done that in the history of the NFL? Zero quarterbacks. So don't tell me that it's just he just lost it. Now Jalen Hurts is the new Lamar Jackson. I mean, I told everybody Jalen Hurts was the new Lamar Jackson in the draft before the Eagles got him.
You did say that, and I said you were crazy because Jalen Hurts could only dream of running that fast. But his leadership is something. And we had talked about this when he got drafted. I remember when he got drafted, and I was like, dude, what are you guys doing? You guys don't believe in Wentz? And you were like, listen, if it's a first-round quarterback that we get in the second round, it's smart. He might sit like Rodgers or something like that,
right?
How he did. We talked about that scenario and like how he would sit. I was like, yeah, I guess.
We also talked about the fact that after Andrew Luck, every team has to have some kind of contingency plan in case their franchise quarterback just says, I'm out.
Yeah, I remember you did say Andrew Luck. And I remember when that happened, like that draft night, and we had talked about it, I said that the Jalen Hurts was like a Russell in that his leadership, he can go from, so Russell went from NC State, then went to Wisconsin, didn't matter, you plug him in, this guy's the fucking quarterback, you know what I mean? Yeah. Same with Jalen Hurts. He went right to Oklahoma. It's like, it's not like he was just finishing out his time and like, oh, maybe they'll get him in some snaps and we'll run a 2 quarterback system. Like this is Tebow and Chris Leak. This was him, like Russell Wilson, taking over and being like, yo, I'm a leader. How many touchdowns he had? Like almost 50 or something. It was like in the 40s.
Insane. It was an insane amount of touchdowns.
Yeah, Oklahoma, right?
Yeah.
And he was throwing to CD Lamb. He made that guy a household name anyway because people tuned in to watch Jalen Hurts. So it's like, it's not inconceivable for the one move for the Eagles to make in the last 4-5 years was actually smart. Was a contingency plan. Nice, solid, first-round talent in the second round.
He threw 80 career touchdowns in college. 80 career touchdowns, 48 at Alabama, 32 in one season at Oklahoma, and rushed for 20. rushed for 20 touchdowns.
That's what I'm saying. He had 50 touchdowns.
50 touchdowns last year combined. And people are going, and draft scouts are going, I don't know if this guy's a quarterback. I mean, yeah, maybe if he's playing in the Unitas era, but he's playing in the modern era.
That's exactly what I mean about like comparison to Russell. The comparison to Russell is the leadership, the I can get it done dual threat, and the late in the game too. Jalen, remember he came in with the Tua thing happened. He had to swallow his pride and sit the bench. Tua came in, was a star.
Yeah.
Then Tua got hurt, and they had to go right back to Jalen. Did he like have rust on him or anything? Fuck no.
Or did he come in with a chip on his shoulder like I'm fuck this team? No.
Nope. He came in like tight. Time to win the game, boys. And that was it.
Yeah.
Like you gotta respect that about them. And that's the only smart thing the Eagles have done in the last 5 years was draft him then. And we said it that night. But the retroactive reversals, fucking Eagles fans are hilarious right now.
Yeah. We've
been like, put in Jalen. We want Jalen. We want Jalen.
Like dude, anybody
didn't want him on draft night.
Yeah,
you did. Yeah, booed. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and again, like hitting on Jalen Hurts doesn't absolve the Eagles of all of the other misses. And I tweeted this before we started the show.
Guy going to the second round, you got to be a retard not to fucking take him.
Exactly. Especially if you don't know what's the
Jets should have took him, and then they could have fucking instead of having Flacco as a backup when fucking the Momo Sam Darnold has mono and everything else every other week. Oh my! I had a sprained something.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, like and who did you end up taking in the second round? Ashton Davis and Denzel Mims, right? So, and I don't think either of those guys have cracked the starting lineup. So
Denzel Mims scores a touchdown.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he's a baller.
Yeah, and I thought Mims was a good. I thought Mims was a good prospect coming out. I thought the Jets had a good draft in the first 3-4 picks. I liked Ashton Davis. I love Big Ugly. Mekhi Becton is the biggest and ugliest motherfucker. I mean, but like
Big Ugly boy.
That dude, listen, when you're the Jets and you don't have a line, take a guy who can actually play two positions at the same time. Pick that motherfucker because that dude's a tackle and a guard.
Speaking of, there's some great O-line play that has been allowing some of these teams to get away with their identity like thing and get some wins when they shouldn't, strictly based on this O-line play. And I think the Vikings were doing a really good run blocking job with Dalvin Cook and stuff, and they have the easiest pass protection like that you for them, like for their scheme,
and for their linemen.
It's the easiest for their linemen. Like if you look at their pass protection and what they run in Minnesota, and then they just shit the fucking goddamn bed. Where is this place? So like you have these O linemen that they string together because it's not like nobody would be like, yeah, the Vikings O line is solid. Like that's why the Browns are doing well. Their O line is great. The Saints are doing great because they have the best O-line in football. The Bills are doing great because they replaced dudes on the O-line and they solidified it up. You got to spend multiple. You got to spend multiple
day one and day two picks on your line.
But there's a reason why these teams are like, whoa, you got Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen putting up 20 points each in fantasy, and they're throwing it all over the place, and you're like, wow. The Minnesota could just run the table for the next 6 games. Look at them. And then they play the next fucking game and they shit the bed. And it's why? It's because they have this like shoddy fake O-line play and you can't hide out there, bro. When the lights are on, they're trying to scheme everything. They got some great outside schemes for Dalvin Cook that they run, a lot of outside zone plays and shit. But as far as
imagine how your quarterback looks if you have that kind of line play and your receivers can't get separation. And the thing that's mind-blowing is you look at the play calling. I mean, the Eagles ran the ball for 330 yards yesterday. I mean, where is that kind of run scheme when Carson Wentz is in the game? And the media all day is like, oh, well, Carson's checking out of runs at the line. I love that the media thinks that they're in the huddle and that they know who's doing what. And people are like, oh, yeah, the amount of times Carson says kill at the line of scrimmage. You don't know if he's killing a run or a pass. And
Right.
Jalen Hurts had to kill a half dozen to a dozen plays yesterday at the line, especially in the second half when you're texting me and going, hey, man, they're about to figure this out because all they need to do is safety blitz to the rollout side, and they contain Jalen Hurts entirely in the second half. So everyone in Philadelphia is ready to anoint this guy the next Randall Cunningham, the next Michael Vick. And it's like, yeah, wait until Arizona with some defensive flexibility and those linebackers tackle the shit out of him this week.
Play Washington again.
Oh, well, yeah, the last game of the season.
I got Washington in that game.
I do too. I absolutely have Washington. You got Chase Young. You got the ageless wonder Ryan Kerrigan.
Everybody wants to talk about pass rushers, and like they need a great pass rush. They need a great pass rush on first and second down when your guard is in the backfield because a D tackle has put his ear hold his ass. Like you're not running the same. When they're stacking the box, right? There's fucking 9 people in the box. He's checking out of shit. Right. And he's going to check to passes and stuff like that. You don't have an O line that blocks shit.
Right.
They be checking the runs when they check to runs when they think shit is covered or they're going to get out of it. And they'll check to a run and be like, oh, there's only a 6-man box. And your O line is getting beat across the face.
Yeah.
Your O line is getting beat penetration on the backside. You're like, who?
And some of these guys are playing good. Jordan Mailata is playing good. Nate Herbage is playing good. But let's assess who the starting line is for this Philadelphia Eagles team right now. Jordan Mailata didn't play organized football until he came into the NFL. He was a rugby player. Okay,
you have a 1,000-year-old left tackle.
Yeah, well, Jason Peters is on IR for the rest of the year. Brandon Brooks, who's the best guard in football, has been on IR all year. Lane Johnson's been on IR for the last 2 years, or for the last 2 weeks.
Might as well be 2 years.
Might as well be 2 years. It feels like 2 years. So you got Jack Driscoll, who's an undersized guard from Auburn, who was a 4th-round pick, who's playing right tackle. Your right guard is Nate Herbage, who is an undrafted free agent from Stanford. Your center is Jason Kelce, thank God. First ballot Hall of Famer, might better be. Okay, and then your left guard is Isaac Ciamalo, an undersized guy from I think Washington or Washington State is where he played. That guy should be your 5th or 6th lineman. He's your starting left guard. You got a left tackle who never played football up until a couple years ago. Okay, and these guys are saying he didn't give up a sack. That line didn't give up a sack yesterday because it's Carson Wentz holding the ball too long. No, that line didn't give up a sack yesterday because Jalen Hurts was running for his fucking life the entire game. That wasn't because that line all of a sudden became Hall of Fame. It's because you got a guy who's 22, not 28, who didn't tear 2 ligaments 3 years ago, who's out there running for a job, not a dude. And by the way, who's definitely more athletically gifted in terms of the speed department than Carson. And you got a guy out there who's playing like Michael Vick. He doesn't even need an offensive line. You might as well put 5 tight ends out there.
In the span of time that Carson Wentz was the starting quarterback with the MVP first half of the season, that gets hurt, they win the Super Bowl, right? They had a if it ain't broke, don't fix it sort of approach. However, they gave an extension to Peters in that since then.
Yep. Re-signed him twice, actually. Gave him an extension and then just re-signed him this year. Mm-hmm. At 37 years old, you spent $6 million on him.
Extra.
So
then on top of that, not one. So I don't understand how a quarter, and this is where I take the disrespect as an offensive lineman. I don't understand how there can be an emphasis on a quarterback being the most important thing. Why we took another quarterback in the second round who was a first round talent and as a contingency plan, and yet linemen are not a contingency plan. I don't understand how you could be like, oh, it's okay, we got a Pro Bowl center, might as well. All the 4 other guys don't have to be fucking great. They can just be banged up for the rest of it. How old are they? 38. Who cares? Like Lane Johnson good player, hurt a lot. Jason Peters, hurt a lot. The fucking Bucks drafted a right tackle. Worse was a right tackle.
Right.
Because what happened is, are they always on the left side of the quarterback protecting their blind spot? No. Chase Young is lined up on the front. Like, here I come. Make him block me.
Yeah.
You spent all this money on the left tackle, but you got this bum who's a free agent or some shit.
Yeah.
And now
fourth
you got,
rounder.
Yeah. Now you got somebody
who's really a guard playing tackle, by the way.
It's low-key disrespectful by the management to do that to your team. You're saying to your franchise quarterback, dude, make it happen.
When the season began and Brandon Brooks went on IR and Lane Johnson was injured, what did I tell you? This was before we even knew there was going to be a season. What did I tell you I would do if I was the general manager of this football team?
Trade one of the quarterbacks.
No, I didn't say I would trade one of the quarterbacks. I said they should start Jalen and let him play this entire season because this season doesn't matter, and you're going to get your fucking franchise quarterback killed.
Matter. That's
right.
I
said you're going to get your franchise quarterback killed behind that line. And what they do? They played him behind that line. He got killed. He's been hit more than any other QB.
That take that you had, now you seem like fucking Nostradamus, but that take that you had at the time, remember what was going on was players were opting out
of the season.
Yeah. And that's when you said, well, listen, because I'm just giving it context. Yeah. You didn't just say, oh, this season is for nothing.
No reason.
You were saying all these players were opting out. So if it's going to be for nothing, because half your team opts out, because that we didn't know who was going to keep opting out because there was a bunch of Patriots players and shit like that.
A lot of the Patriots starters opted out this season.
Yeah, and people want to be like, look, it's Tom Brady. Look at the Bucks. Look, it's Belichick. It's who was really the brains. And you'd be like, had like 6 starters like opt out for the season.
By the way, they had not just starters, but guys that are Pro Bowlers and probably Hall of Famers.
Yeah, so
when Dante Hightower opted out of the season, that's the end of your season.
When that happened, you had said that if this season doesn't mean anything and everybody's going to opt out, this motherfucker better start day one.
Yeah.
And
it's like,
if this is
a red shirt season, let Jalen Hurts get the experience, play his ass off, and then trade one of those guys for a first-round pick next year. Pick whichever one you want.
He's because he was a second round pick. You don't have to start him. You could sit him. And you said, fuck that. He's a first round talent.
Yes.
We just got him in the second round.
Right. And I said, if it's a throwaway season and you got backup linemen out there, and that was the thing. It was like before we already knew Brandon Brooks, the right guard, was out for the season. Then they were also saying that Jason Kelce might have retired last year. I guarantee you he's going to retire this year. But if Kelce was going to retire or sit out the season, you had already lost Brandon Brooks and Lane Johnson was hurt. I was like, dude, if half your line is out and they might not even play a full season, just let Jalen Hurts play. Let him play. Let him get experience. If this is like a fucking practice season, let the kid come in and get experience. Don't risk your franchise quarterback.
If you're Carson Wentz, though, how disrespectful is it that you think they make a decision like that? Like, well, we don't want to get Jalen hurt out there. And you'd be like, what about me?
Yeah, I've already been hurt because your fucking team can't block.
What I mean? That shit's crazy.
And by the way, and this is the thing nobody's talking about, the reason Carson Wentz rolled out on that play against the Rams in that game and got injured, got hit in the knee and had his fucking ligaments shredded was because his receivers couldn't get open in the red zone.
Still the same problem because they didn't draft.
Still the same fucking problem. And they didn't draft any receivers.
They didn't draft Metcalf.
Yeah.
They didn't draft fucking Justin Jefferson
or Tyreek Hill or any of them.
I couldn't even imagine if Carson Wentz got to throw to fucking Tyreek Hill and got that shit.
Any of them. I mean, do you think Patrick Mahomes is putting up the numbers he is and winning the games he is for any reason other than he doesn't even have that great of an offensive line? You know what he has? He has fucking 2 turbo jets as wide receivers. He's got 2 of the fastest players in NFL history, Mecole Hardman and Tyreek Hill as wide receivers. They don't even have to call plays. They literally just go and go. And Pat Mahomes has an arm big enough to get it all the way down the field.
How is Travis Kelce putting up the numbers he is?
It's insane. Well, it's because he's a wide receiver playing tight end. I mean, Travis Kelce, if you think about it, Travis Kelce is probably more athletic than Joe Juravicius and more athletic than Ed McCaffrey and more athletic than any white wide receiver to ever play in the NFL, and he's playing tight end.
Who's that dude that used to play for the Falcons?
White guy?
Yeah.
A wide receiver?
Yeah.
I don't remember a white wide receiver for the Falcons.
Yeah, dude. He had burners too, didn't he?
I don't know. I have no idea who you're talking about. Are you thinking of Roddy White, who wasn't white, but had the name Roddy White? Did I lose your connection?
No.
Oh, okay. You're just thinking. Because that makes for very good broadcast.
I'm sorry.
You know what, man? This is why your career got cut short. They were probably like, Red 76, and you're over there looking off into the fucking stands at a pair of tits. Next thing you know, getting blown up.
Who was the white wide receiver?
I already looked this up, and I couldn't find it. Best white wide. See, I feel like if I type this into my search browser, I'm going to get put on some kind of list. It wasn't. Well, you guys had one of the best ones of all time. Joe Juravicius. He's on the list.
Wayne Corbett for us.
Yeah, Wayne Corbett. That's who I'm talking about. White wide receivers. You got Steve Largent, Fred Biletnikoff. You got Wes Welker. Eric, your favorite, Eric Decker.
I like that guy. He was good.
Who was pretty good.
Played against him in college. He went to Minnesota.
Yeah. He was a gopher.
Beast.
Then
fucking
you had
beast, dude.
Then you had Jordy Nelson.
If you saw him in college, you're like, oh, that fool going to the league.
Yeah.
He was bodying fools in college.
Then you had, remember Ricky Prohl? Old Ricky Prohl. Bill Schroeder. You had Steve Watson. Well, the Broncos really loved them some white wide receivers, didn't they?
Hey, how about the Patriots or
also,
the Colts?
Yeah,
the Colts
also,
span of time from his time in Indianapolis. He had some crackers on that team, bro.
You know about Anthony Gonzalez?
No, I'm talking about the Dallas Clarks of the world.
Yeah, how do you have?
He made Cole Beasley a household name.
How do you have Wayne Corbett number 17 on the list of white wide receivers?
No gloves. He got to be top 3.
Yo, Ed McCaffrey is 16, Dwight Clark 15, Billy Houghton 14, Max Speedy 13. Who the fuck is that? Hugh Taylor. Well, you can't go back to the fucking pre. They got Chris Collinsworth, number 11. You can go fuck yourself. Elroy Hirsch. That makes sense. Billy Wilson. All these guys are pre-civil rights movement, by the way. Wes Welker's number 8. How is Wes Welker number 8? Raymond Berry, number 6 for the Baltimore Colts. Of course, you got Biletnikoff. He's got to be on there. 6-time Pro Bowler Fred Biletnikoff. Harlan Hill. Steve Largent for the Seahawks is number 3. Lance Allworth is number 2. Don Hudson. So whatever Falcons white guy you're thinking of, he ain't in the top 30.
I don't know, dude.
I think you're making one up. Remember Matt Jones? Who, by the way, Matt Jones was a wide receiver that they were convinced could play quarterback because he was white. You remember that?
That is the best example of how they feel about black guys that playing quarterback, and they're like, "No, he can't play that. Go try and play receiver in this here NFL."
And meanwhile, Matt Jones is like a dominant receiver. They're like, "You sure you don't want to play quarterback, Sunshine?" Yeah, exactly. They're like, "Hey, Sunshine, Sunshine, you can play quarterback, can't you?" Yeah. So ridiculous. The worst thing about it, man. The worst thing about it. So anyway, moving on from Jalen. We call Jalen was going to be a star. It's unfortunate that he has to end up in Philadelphia. But I'll tell you this: unless you change the front office, they're going to make the same. They'll waste him too. He'll be running around for the rest of his life until his leg gets RG3'd, and then they'll be on to the next one, and they'll be like, "See, they never should have got rid of Nate Shudfeld. That Nate Shudfeld is some kind of special."
Hey, do you think? It's almost like I was like, what do the Jets do now? Because I really feel like Trevor Lawrence is going to pull an Eli Manning and be like, I'm
not going to play for the Jets.
He's going to be like Magic. I'm not going to be there.
Yeah. I agree. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is an option for the Jets. Here's what I honestly do. Listen, and I tweeted this earlier. I said, if I'm Carson Wentz, I give Philly the bird. I go, listen, you're not going to Indianapolis Colts me in my career. I don't care if you think I still have it.
I would take Carson Wentz. I'm sorry. I think he's
if you were the Jets, if I'm the Jets, I would take Carson Wentz. If anybody, I said this to an Eagles fan on Twitter last night. If Carson Wentz gets put on the trading block, they're called by all 31 teams. There's not a team in the NFL. And you know what the Eagles fucking deserve for mismanaging this?
I have seen
they deserve for him to go to New England and win 6 more rings with fucking Belichick.
Oh my God, could you?
And I would love every second of it.
I wouldn't, dude. I wouldn't.
I know you wouldn't as a Jets fan, but the Eagles deserve
more
it.
Sick to my stomach than everything you just said.
The Eagles deserve it. Somebody posted a picture.
I'd rather get stabbed than that happen.
Somebody posted a picture of Carson Wentz in Pee Wee football, and he played for a Patriots team in Pee Wee, and people go, he was always destined to be a Patriot. It's gonna happen.
Would he not fit in so well
in the Belichick system? Yeah, he would be perfect.
McDaniels,
yes, yeah, and could you imagine leaving a dud of a fucking play caller like Doug Peterson and going with the best offensive play caller in the last 20 years? In Josh McDaniels?
That if Bieniemy keeps going, it might be him. Because McDaniels did draft Tebow and was calling some fuck shit, but I feel you.
Yeah. I would love to see it. I would love to see him go to Indianapolis and have a chance to win with Frank Reich there and show that was really the magic behind that 2017 season. But I think he should tell Philadelphia to go fuck themselves. And I don't think he should wait until he gets Andrew Luck injured to tell them to go fuck themselves. You didn't build a team around me. You created this controversy. You fed this controversy. And then you want me to show up and be your Huckleberry? You want me to be a good team player and cheer on that? Fuck you.
Your Huckleberry?
Yeah. Huh? They want him to be Huckleberry Slim. That's who they want him to be. They want him to watch Jalen Hurts fuck his wife in front of him. And be a good teammate about it. I'm tired of Philadelphia Eagles players being good teammates. Fuck that. Leave that team. That team is letting another man fuck your wife in front of you. You need to get out and you need to go somewhere where y'all's is appreciated. How great would it be if the Pittsburgh Steelers win another Super Bowl this year and Big Ben retires and Carson just goes, I'll take the 3-hour drive to Pittsburgh, and then goes and wins 5 rings with the Steelers. I mean,
now that is disrespectful. Also, it's
how many teams are Carson Wentz away from a Super Bowl? How many teams?
Here's the thing. How many teams don't want this contract is sort of a myth.
Of course,
how many for them to say, well, Carson Wentz's contract is too expensive, nobody would take it, I think is absolute horseshit, because if you look at the model of Mahomes, Shannon would say, my homeboy, his contract, what Dak wanted, what Dak wanted before he got hurt, right? What Tannehill got paid. Carson Wentz being a franchise guy, you'll be like, yeah, I guess I'm going to have to pay somebody else more.
He's making the same money per season as Kirk Cousins.
That's what I'm saying.
You're going to pay Dak Prescott. I mean, listen, it's probably never going to happen.
He's making as much as Tannehill.
Let me tell you this. If the Eagles traded Carson Wentz to Dallas or let him end up in Dallas, they would literally cut off Jeffrey Lurie's head and hang it from the fucking art museum steps. But I'm telling you this. If you're Jerry Jones
from Dallas,
if Jerry Jones, listen, everyone wants to talk about who's better, Dak or Carson. Dak's costing you $40 million next season. You're either going to pay it or he's going to go to Jacksonville or
Carson costs you 28.
Carson costs you 28. So if they're the same, you'd pay the guy 28, right? So, and by the way, Indianapolis ain't paying anybody shit right now. The reason they traded their number one pick for DeForest Buckner last year was because they go, listen, we got $100 million in cap because we've just drafted perfectly for the last 5 years. So we'll just take DeForest Buckner's massive contract and bring over all that talent and all that leadership instead of drafting a guy. And they could do the same thing this year with Carson Wentz. They have like $98 million in cap room this season.
Well, hold on, though. They're going to the playoffs.
Yeah, but old man Rivers is not going to play beyond this season.
But he's winning.
I know. But he's got 47 children to take care of, okay? Phillip Rivers better get out of the league before Phillip Rivers got to get out of the league before he loses his job to one of his sons because that shit's coming up on him.
I with Phillip Rivers, I have such a love-hate. He also reminds me of my college quarterback because they have the same throwing motion and they're both really not that athletic. And but Phil Rivers, his shit talking is so commendable, and I really like. He is one of those players that if you watch him play, you're like, fuck this guy. But if you watch him play on that like mic'd up shit where they got like, and you get to hear him all the time, he's like, hey, 99, hey, this one's for you, and he's just like slinging the kill. You're like, dude, that guy 17 is fun.
Yeah,
like,
he is fun. He is a fun dude. But so what? So you trade for Carson, you put him on the bench, and you let him compete, or he comes in, he competes with Phillip Rivers. Who knows? If
what's Phil Rivers' contract?
It's a 1-year deal. He's on a 1-year deal. He's on a 1-year deal in Indianapolis. So in my mind, it's one and done. Or he might come back, but here's the thing. By the way, they're paying Phillip Rivers more money than they would have paid Carson Wentz this year.
What are they paying? $30 million?
Yeah, it's like 28, 27, 28, and Carson's 26.
And Carson was 24 point something plus incentives.
Yeah. So Phillip Rivers got more money than Carson Wentz this year. So I'm telling you, man, like there's a lot of places he could go. I mean, you don't want to see the kid go to Jacksonville and have to reboot a franchise, but you don't think Carson Wentz is better than Matt Ryan and is cheaper than Matt Ryan? Matt Ryan's contract is like $33 million next year.
Somehow
so
the Falcons
take a $5
million. I'm convinced.
Yeah, I don't think you're too far off on that. I don't think you're too far off, but let's move on from Philadelphia sport. We did 45 minutes on Jalen Hurts. Best of luck to Jalen Hurts. I think he's going to have a great career no matter where it is. I hope Carson Wentz gives I hope he sticks that giant beak on his face up at Philadelphia and walks the fuck out and says, deuces, been fun, but you guys suck and you're going to suck forever. I've never rooted for a player I like to leave my favorite team more than I'm rooting for Carson Wentz.
I root for Jamal Adams.
Yeah.
I thought he got a raw deal. I thought they were totally committed to him, and then they pulled a 180, and they're like, by the way, if you guys want to trade for Jamal Adams, you can. And then he found out. He's like, somebody called, like another agent was like, yo, bro, you guys are talking in trade talks? Yeah. And his agent called him and was like, yo, the Jets are trying to trade you. And he was like, fuck that. And he just started going on Instagram like, yeah, fuck them. Like he went to, remember he was at like Walmart and some random person was like,
oh yeah. He was like, come to the Cowboys. He's like, I'm trying to.
Yeah. I'm trying to.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just like, when players get dogged out by a franchise, whether that's your favorite team or not, you got to look at it objectively. Like, yeah, that's fucked up and good for that. Leave them. Leave us. It's like watching a woman that you don't want to fuck getting beat by her husband and still going, you still should leave him. I don't have a horse in the race, but leave him.
Jesus Christ.
Leave
Not
that
now
motherfucker.
with all the bruises and everything.
Yeah.
I wanted to fuck her.
Yeah, now she's a little beat. She's been had. She's been a little bamboozled now. I don't need any of that.
So
Perfect segue. Speaking of bitches in football. Let's talk a little bit about what we talked about this past weekend. The first bitch who I think is going to end up in, isn't it funny how movies become real life? Remember when we were kids and we were watching Necessary Roughness and we're like, well, the idea of Kathy Ireland being in the locker room is pretty sexy, but obviously it's never going to happen. And Scott Bakula playing quarterback, also never going to happen.
But it will. They're making weenies. They're making the weenies be quarterbacks, and here come the gals.
Yeah, here comes the first round draft choice with the first pick in the 2031 NFL draft. The Cincinnati Bengals select Timothy Chalamet, person who's never played football in his life, which would probably be a better pick than Sarah Fuller. Let's talk about this bitch. My favorite part about Sarah Fuller this weekend was she made a 30-yard field goal look like a 79-yarder. And they're talking about her breaking barriers.
It's 17 yards, right? The extra point?
Yeah, she kicked it was like a 20-yard field goal or something.
It's 7 yards back from the back of the end zone, right? From where the place kicker holds it from the snap.
Yeah.
7 yards, 10 yards plus the end zone. Okay, so 20-something yards.
Yeah. And it barely squeaked over. First of all, she kicked it. Who was the flat-footed kicker? The guy who had half a foot? You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know.
Kicker with half a foot.
What?
Tom Dempsey. He didn't have toes on his kicking foot. You didn't know about this?
What? What do you have? Rocks in the toes?
No, man. He had the beaties or some shit. Let me skip this.
I'm just saying, he had to have something in place. He can't just be kicking with a soft shoe. It can't be like the front part be just air and shit.
Dude, I'm telling you.
He had to fill that thing with something. Rocks in the shoe.
It's right cheating. Here. Yeah, he might have been juicing. Whatever the equivalent to footless person juicing is. What do we got here?
Which guy is it? The dude with the beard? Or the guy with the glasses?
No, it's this guy. They're talking about him.
So neither of those guys are him, though.
No.
Is he dead? He's got to be dead. Nobody loses their foot.
He was born without a foot.
Oh, I thought he was.
What you don't understand is that Tom Dempsey, in all of his white privilege, was born without toes and still made it to the NFL. If this doesn't tell you that systemic racism has been winning in this country for centuries, you don't know. It's like, that was back then when they were like, was she kicker? Yeah. Does he have toes? Actually, I don't think he does. Fuck it. He's what? He actually's missing half his kicking foot. Well, that sounds kind of special.
Was he missing his toes?
Yes, exactly.
Was he missing his toes? But let me ask you this. Was he a white man? Exactly.
Yeah, look at this boxing glove that he wore. That's his kicking shoe.
I told you, that's a juicer, bro. Look at the front of it, bro.
That looks like he put a hammer.
First of all, that's an acne anvil. That's an acne anvil.
Oh my God.
This is a guy's foot?
Yeah, look at this. This is him. He was an eagle. Tom Dempsey. I don't know. Look at that thing.
I don't know.
Tom Dempsey at one point would like bring hookers back from South Street and be like, "Hey, you want the foot?
That is the most
you want the foot." It don't have
Philly shit possible. Look at that quote. If you're different, we don't like you.
Yeah. And actually they did like him because he was still white. They were like, you could have no toes and be a kicker. Just don't be a black quarterback.
You don't have to know what that quote is from. It just be like, I think it's literally from the city of Philadelphia. They just quoted.
It's actually written on the Liberty Bell. Did you not go there on a field trip ever?
Yeah, I went there, and that's exactly what it says when you pull up to it. Like it says, "House in the House of Stowe" or some shit like that, and then underneath it, it says, "If you're
different, we don't like you." Yeah. Yeah. He started with the Saints. He played for a bunch of teams, but Tom Dempsey for the longest time held the NFL record for the longest field goal at 63 yards before Matt Elam came along with his toes and broke the record for the Broncos all those years ago.
Wow.
So we've fast forward what a lot of difference a couple decades makes, because you used to not need toes and now you don't even need a penis. So
First
there's
of all,
that.
She's a champion. See, here's the thing. I'm a sick fuck. This is the
part where
Big
Spit makes the case for.
I believe in violence, and I might be a sicko if I say that. I just want to see her get fucking cleaned on the field. Just fucking wow. Like, am I sick for that?
No, I think it's
just wanting to see her just like do a kickoff, and then she has to cover on there, and she's got to stay in her lane to try and make a tackle, and they come in full speed, and somebody comes and blocks her. Oh man.
Listen, man, we have on this story, we have some breaking news. Breaking within the last 47 minutes since we've been podcasting. It looks like my time as a football player has come to an end. I would like to personally thank the entire Vanderbilt football team. God, this bitch got cut after 2 games. The entire Vanderbilt football team, coaches, and support staff for this amazing opportunity to be a part of this program. I was accepted as an athlete and a true member of this team. Were you? This is an experience that I will never forget and will cherish forever. Good luck to the seniors and staff who are moving on to new adventures. My best wishes to the team. Oh, you mean guys who are going to actually play professional football? New adventures. My best wishes to the team as this program moves forward and continues to grow. I bet this weekend, I bet $100 to women's athletic charities, this bitch will get drafted. Even if it's only symbolic, she will get drafted into the NFL to be the first woman drafted by an NFL team.
It'll be somebody like the Rams.
Yeah. They'll move over Michael Sam.
Man.
And so she'll be, my prediction is she'll be the first Mrs. Irrelevant or Miss Irrelevant. Somebody will take her with the last pick in the draft, and it's just like runner up to Miss America. Mr. Irrelevant like has all these press obligations and things he has to do by being the last player drafted.
They give him a car.
Yeah, they give him a car. It will be her. She will be the first ever Miss Irrelevant. It will happen. Some team will throw that pick away for the publicity.
And the headline will call it Miss Irrelevant, and 2 days later, they're going to have to change the name of that.
It'll never be Mr. Irrelevant ever again. It'll have to be a non-gender identifying.
No, just saying that it's misogynistic to say irrelevant when you're calling somebody that.
That's what you think they're going to key on. They're going to be like
irrelevant. They're going to change that, and they're like, well, that's offensive. She shouldn't be called that just because she's the last pick. That's part more of the patriarchy trying to set the rule. You know, that type of shit.
Yep, you're right. So you agree with me that somebody will draft her?
Yeah, I told you it'd be the fucking Rams, the last pick in the 7th round, on some goofy shit.
Well, we won't know who it'll be until the compensatory picks are awarded, but it will be.
Who in their right mind, though, thinks that shit is awesome?
Nobody in their right mind thinks it's awesome. Just like nobody in their right mind thinks transgender women should be fighting MMA.
I mean,
listen, I know I used to be a women. What's that?
They should not fight women because they're crushing their skulls and shit like that.
Yes, Fallon Fox.
So they should be in their own, because since they're in between genders, right?
Yes.
They're transgenders. They should fight in a trans division where they could take on each other, and
loser gets to cut off the other person's dick. I think we just invented a new form of women's MMA. It's an all trans league, and the champion gets to cut off the loser's dick and keep it as a trophy.
It's a grotesque genital mutilation show. It's called Mute FC. And it's
hilarious.
Coming to a city near you.
Yeah. It's called Dyke Force. Actually, you could just go back to using Pride and it would actually probably work. The Pride Women's 145-pound champion. And of course, here is the Dana White putting the belt on. And of course, now we go to the ceremonial removal of the penis for the losing
broadcasting live from West Hollywood, California.
This is Laverne Cox. This is Laverne Cox and Billy Porter, and still Joe Rogan because he's the best in the game.
Hi.
Laverne Cox. Listen. Y'all know me. I was
Joe
on
Rogan
Orange
while
is the
he
New Black.
has to listen to everybody else.
Right.
Laverne Cox. I don't know nothing about fighting or none of that, but I would like to do the colored. They invited me here to do the colored commentary on the penis removal.
Yeah, it's so funny. I saw a tweet when they were talking about.
Did you and I have the idea for colored commentary? Wasn't that a thing we came up with a long time ago?
That's something you came up with.
I came up with, yeah. Which, by the way, if you watch that last boxing match, that is what Snoop Dogg does, colored commentary.
Yeah. So I saw a tweet that said something like that. And they're like, man, Snoop gives the best color commentary in the game. And somebody's like, erase this racist shit now. Or something.
Because they didn't know that color commentary was a thing.
As a thing. So you're like, you do know he doesn't mean colored commentary, right? Like,
oh God, that's
and
so
besides,
good.
that would be of color commentary.
Yes. But colored commentary. I mean, I don't know how that's not a podcast or something at this. But it's a great brand.
We copyrighted it. Any black comics out there want to take colored commentary for a sports podcast? It's okay. You just pay me or Josh. It's all right.
Yeah, we'll take a royalty. We'll take a percentage.
That's it.
Taking a royalty would be the whitest thing I've done to a person in my entire life. So that sounds. I feel like I would finally earn all the white privilege I'm accused of having if I took a royalty of something.
Getting paid for doing nothing is a great name. Then they call it a royalty. But in that regard, if you called it a royalty, it would definitely be racist as fuck, right?
Yeah.
Like he was like, hey, we didn't do shit, but you're still gonna pay me some royalties. All right.
Well, you know.
So if this chick makes it to the NFL, the Jets might draft her because they drafted worse than a female kicker. They drafted Mike Nugent. I think didn't they draft him in the first round?
It was either first. It was pretty early. It was very early.
I was like, I hate this team. The time that they drafted Mike Nugent, I was like, I fucking hate this team. What is going on in this shit? Some white Stalins.
Second round of the 2005 NFL draft, Mike Nugent, 47th overall pick.
That's despicable. That's 10 picks after the first round.
Robert Aguayo was actually picked in the second round as well in the 2016 draft by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And he was a guy.
That's Florida State, right?
Yeah.
Fucking
he played at Florida State. He ended up being one of the biggest bombs in history of the NFL. He was the most accurate kicker in ACC history, and I don't even think he made it one season in the NFL.
It's just, I don't get it, man. So
and that guy is definitely a better kicker than Sarah Fuller. I mean, I'm not trying to be a dick, but I think it's safe to say that Roberto Aguayo is a better kicker than Sarah Fuller.
So besides kicker, we know kicker, they'll probably be the first kicker in the NFL after that. And be like, oh, women in the league or something.
Yeah.
What is the next position a woman could play besides none of them?
Well, there's already a Lesbotron coach out in San Francisco, right? What is she? Offensive quality control?
That's shout out to the homie Katie Sowers. She's an offensive assistant coach, drawing up plays, things like that. Offensive tight ends and that type of shit like that. They have all sorts of coaches for offense. However,
I imagine the next the next female player will be a long snapper.
I'm talking about because you can't touch them.
Yeah, you can't touch a long snapper.
But they have to cover downfield, and you can whack them when they are down there.
Okay.
Once they're running downfield, they're.
First of all, you and I both know some big black bitches in Florida that could straight play the line without any coaching. So
I knew this one bitch that I went to school with. I know she could have played linebacker or some shit for the Ravens. Big D line for sure.
Yeah,
like easily a nose tackle.
Nose tackle.
There's this bit. Hell yeah, big mean bitch. Play three technique.
There are some girls out with 3 technique. That's what I'm going to start referring to women as 3 and 5 techniques. That's what I'm going to call fat girls for the rest of my life. That girl's a real 3 technique over there.
Fat bitches and tall bitches. That's what I call them too. 3s and 5s out there.
Yeah, that's officially. Yeah, there are no.
That's not a 1 to 10 scale. That's me saying that. That bitch a 3 technique. Big as fuck.
Yeah. We should make women's merch that says 3 technique.
and if I see a wide 9, that bitch tall as a motherfucker.
And a cold bitch is a 34. She's a 34.
So, do you have a sort of predict?
She ain't a dime. She is a 5 technique, my friend.
See, I think the league is getting so pussified that the next thing for women to be is quarterback.
Yeah, I think so.
Because girls can throw. I know some girls in Florida that could throw.
Trevor Lawrence is going to get drafted 1st overall this year, and that's pretty good. We're already pretty close to a woman there.
Sunshine, I need to know.
If you told me that Trevor Lawrence used to be a woman, I wouldn't argue with you.
Look, it don't matter, but I need to know.
Yeah.
Well, if it don't matter, Petey, what's the matter?
Yeah.
Because I need to know. Listen, there's something pressing that needs to happen in college football besides
stopping letting women play football.
Yeah. Besides the egregious participation trophies that they've been giving out lately, I think it's time to abolish, or at least all the conferences and schools abandon the NCAA.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
I think it's time for the players to get paid. I think there's a governing body.
Now, what is the argument for players getting paid? Because a lot of people don't understand. Yeah, so a lot of people don't understand that the NCAA rules as they exist today mean that players not only can't take any sort of endorsement deals, any sort of gifts on behalf of their likeness or personal brand.
Not only that, it's called an extra benefit, and how they refer to it, an extra benefit, is anything outside of what a regular student would get that they would have the access to getting and all that, and you can't get anything for free. So you can't have a job. You can't have a job. You work for the team from 6 a.m. Like football is your life. They say as a student athlete, but the only reason that the NCAA classifies them as student athlete is so that they don't have to pay workman's compensation, because it is a job. 6 a.m, you might have to be up for either study hall or a workout group or whatever. We have weights before regular students have class. When regular students get to sign up for their schedules and be like, I don't want class at 8:30. I'm on class at 2 p.m. from 2 to 7, or whatever the fuck. We don't have that luxury. We have to have our classes in between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. That's it. You might have some night classes after that. It'd be like, after the practice and some of that, sure, you can have a 7:30 at night, 8 o'clock at night class. But you just be up and doing it again at 7 a.m. the next day.
Yeah.
So when the fuck can anybody have a job? So you can't do that. So you can't work. So they give stipend checks if you live off campus and stuff like that you have to like pay your rent with and things like that. And people think like, oh, but you're on scholarship. Well, the problem is in America is they treat school as like higher education is some like luxury instead of like a right for kids, right? In the UK or Japan or South America or fucking, Spain, anywhere like that, they go in Canada, they go to university. That's what they do. They're done with high school.
I guess I wouldn't have a problem with all of this if they were free games to go to. If college football games were open and free to the public, no problem.
But that's why the point of the NCAA and the greed that goes into college is that they charge now of what it means to have higher education. They've treated as like only people that can pay should have it. So they've tricked working class people because that's how they get people to sign up for the military. If everybody had school, you wouldn't have to say, hey, we'll pay for your college, son. How about you come to the Air Force?
Right.
If everybody had university like they have everywhere else, they wouldn't have to have this where they prey on poor inner city kids to either go to the military or play sports. And they prey on that shit because they go, listen, if we write up a contract where they agree to being a student athlete, where we won't pay them workman's compensation because we call them a student athlete, we are the governing body that says if you, Josh, if you played D-tackle or something and somebody came, I was like, dude, great game, whatever. I seen you. Say it's like Tuesday and you're on campus, whatever. It's like, I saw you on Saturday. It was a great game.
I want to buy your lunch.
Here's a sandwich. Somebody could be like, yo, I saw Josh Denny get a sandwich.
Which you did see that. You did. I'm not winning that case. I'm not winning that case, and I don't play football.
And they would call that an extra benefit, and you would get suspended for a year. You would lose
a year of eligibility.
If you transfer schools, you lose a year of eligibility. But a coach could up and leave in the middle of a year and get paid $6 million.
Bobby Petrino.
But you got to sit out. So the reason that the players should get paid. So there was video game. We sued the NCAA. We sued the NCAA for the video game thing. That's why there hasn't been an NCAA video game made in years.
Since 2014,
Madden. They haven't made an NCAA game.
Yeah, I think the last year was maybe 16.
Because of likeness. And then finally, like California and all these places are starting these laws to where players can finally make money off of their likeness. Because how can a school on campus sell a jersey like Tebow, right? At Florida, they have thousands upon thousands of kids, right? Tens of thousands. There's like 38,000 kids at Florida or some shit, like stupid number, 40,000 kids. They sell the number 15 jersey on campus, the hottest selling jersey, but it doesn't say Tebow on the back. Or
right.
Even if
that's how they get away with it.
Or even if it does say Tebow, they have the right to do it because they own your name and likeness because you signed a scholarship. And what does your scholarship include? Room and board, being at the school. They're paying for that. Meanwhile, they sell the games on TV. So, like college basketball, CBS paid $9 billion for 4 years of coverage. They're like, we're going to pay $9 billion just to show it. That's before selling ad space or anything. They paid $9 billion. So these motherfuckers sell ad space. They sell jerseys, and they put them in the commercials and everything, and they want you to buy tickets to the events that they have, and the kids on whose backs they're doing it on can't make a dime or they get suspended. That's what the argument for players should be getting paid. If I get hurt, I blow my knee out, whatever, that school doesn't have to pay the rest of my scholarship. It's 1 year renewable. You're not there for 4 years. You're not there it's a 1 year renewable contract. So like for them to say, well, I don't think players should get paid. Cool. So how do they eat if they can't take an extra benefit? They expel 3,000 calories a day. If you have to stay on campus and the caf is closed because of a holiday, how do they eat? They have to take an extra benefit. That's why kids end up selling dope or fucking caught up in scandals and shit, because they have left their podunk town or their shitty city or wherever, gang life or any sort of bad home life, anything like that. Maybe football was the best thing that happened to them. They got a scholarship and everybody tells them that that's great because college costs money. They're selling a dream to regular folks to make it look like what college players are getting is so extravagant.
Right. Well, and that's the thing is like the thing that I think is absolutely shit is like I think the best movie that ever addressed this came out in like the mid 90s, which was what was it? Blue Chips, which was the movie with Shaq and Nick Nolte or whatever.
He's like, I want a tractor. The white guy. And you're like, oh shit, the white guy was like that.
Yeah. But that's what I loved. And then when the movie Basketball came out many years later, they're like, do you think Shaq got rich in Orlando? They go, no, Shaq got rich playing in college. Everybody knows that.
Everybody knows that.
But that's the thing is like, you know, even in today's era with social media and shit, these kids aren't even allowed to like have influencer deals on Instagram. Now, how the fuck does the college have governance over that whatsoever? You're telling me a kid like like Trevor Lawrence can't have a fucking Vidal Sassoon brand ambassador thing that pays his bills while he's in college?
So that's the NCAA. Because if it was up to the schools would kind of pay the players that were making them cash. They would give them envelopes of cash. The fucking private universities, USC and Miami, do it anyway because they're private. They, you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember, so a buddy I went to school with when I went to Temple originally in Philly, my buddy Bill McGrath, his brother was on the national championship Miami Hurricanes teams, and they're from Canada and shit. And Bill was like, yo, we're in Philly. We have no money. It's fucking cold. He was like, yo, Joe, send me some money. He was playing his brother was playing in the CFL at the time. And he's like, what do you mean? He was like, doesn't he give you that fucking, where's your like envelope for the week? And we were like, what? He's like, yeah, do they just like give you an envelope full of cash? Like, I was like, no, bro, we go to Temple in North Philadelphia. We didn't go to fucking University of Miami where they're handing out fucking envelopes like the program.
Warren Sapp pulls up to practice in a fucking Bentley and they're just like, what? Yeah, Florida State, all those players in the 90s had all kinds of under the table money coming in.
Deion Sanders had the goldest chains possible. I was like, yeah, with what cash?
Yeah. Yeah, you know the 90s there was money going out like crazy to football players when they're like, listen, the draft is happening at my house. The entire NFL draft. We'll just have it at my house.
Oh man. So I just think that we've gotten to it. So now if there's no governing body like the NCAA, it's up to the schools. The schools would have to do it, but the schools do everything anyways. Who handles all the drug testing on campus when you know you have a drug test? For recreational drugs, for everything, it's the university. The NCAA only tests for steroids. So, like, if somebody goes, it's a drug test today, you're like, who is it? And he'd be like, it's NCAA. He'd be like, I'm good. I'll piss in that bitch. Because most dudes aren't taking steroids.
Right.
But if it's the university came and there was just like, yo, we're testing for shit, dudes would try and like do anything to get out of that drug test.
Right.
But if you failed an NCAA test, they suspend suspend you for a year, lose your eligibility, don't get it back. But coaches like at my alma mater, FAU, like Carl Pelini, who was there after I graduated, he was doing coke in the office, all types of shit like that. He didn't lose the ability to coach the next year or any shit like that. The way they treat coaches are as if these kids can't do it. But if they left early, like the NCAA made a rule with a deal with the NBA, make them play 1 year in college. Why? They could come and play it with grown men now at 18 years old. Why do they have to go to college? Because the schools wouldn't make money off their basketball program ever. Right. If they all skipped college and went to the NBA, bitch, I'm only going here for a semester. Pussy, what the fuck I gotta, It's so that they can make money.
So the LeBrons and Kobe's can contribute to their income stream.
It's crazy. It is a step in backwards land just to make old greedy people fucking money off of these kids. And I think if there's no NCAA, then the kids can make money off like their Instagrams and shit like that, because the school's not going to care because it's driving traffic to them and shit like that. And nobody's going to tell these schools, hey, your tuition went up 3,000%. How about toning it down?
Well, here's the other question too, is like, it's like the thing that I have a problem with this. The thing that I have a problem with this entirely is because the NCAA football is still a product. It's still broadcast. It's still advertised. And it's still something that guys play for 4 years of their young adulthood. And I think if you're going to there are college football players who never make it out of college who are incredible, who get vegetabled before they ever get the opportunity to get drafted. And then there are guys who were phenomenal college athletes that don't get drafted into the right situation, that don't get drafted at all, who it's over for them. Meanwhile, the college program they played for, Meanwhile, though, the college program they played for generated more revenue off of their game day performances in 4 years than an NFL team would have made off of them in 4 years.
Right.
So you look at a guy like Tebow. You look at a guy like Tebow.
Exactly.
Yeah. You have a guy like Tebow who played 4 years at Florida. He probably generated the Florida Gators brand hundreds of millions in revenue. That kid should have been a bust in the NFL. Could have been a bust on day one, and should have had his fucking shit taken care of for the rest of his life because of what he did at Florida.
He was a highest selling college jersey at the time. Won the Heisman Trophy as a sophomore. I don't care if he's a good Christian. That boy should have been paid $30 million in college.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Especially when you look to
what the fuck are they talking about?
Well, and when the fact that these kids are superstars.
Look at these kids are YouTubers, though. They're like 6 years old. They're millionaires.
Oh, yeah.
Why are they saying like they're 18 to 24? They shouldn't be getting that money. Why? You can't do what they do.
Dude, I follow a 2-year-old China boy on Instagram
that eats shit all day.
Yes. He got famous because he said his mom made a compilation of videos where he goes, "Thank you, mama," for all of his food, and literally that kid's worth. They just bought a new house. The kid's 2 years old. He's 2 years old. And they just bought a new house with the influencer money. Thank you, mama. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Literally, I was just I looked at my girlfriend. I was like, "Yo, we need to go get one of them Asian babies. Why are we working? Why the fuck are we working?" He'll either make us all the money to buy toys, or he'll make the toys. Either way, we're set.
He is a toy. That is the cutest kid I've ever seen.
You know who I'm talking about? Yeah.
Thank you, mama.
Thank you, mama. Yeah, you're just like, this kid is the most adorable. That kid makes you want kids.
When his mom didn't recognize him saying that at first. And then he was like, "I said thank you, mama."
Yeah. My favorite is this is now we're finally getting to see what it's like when kids truly grow up as Instagram stars, like knowing of their own fame and success from the time they're 2. Like in 5 years, that kid's gonna be the most bitchy 7-year-old
but that's
you've
not even
ever
fair,
met in your
dude.
life.
Like, what if this dude blows up on the internet because of their athletic ability? Like they did some one-handed catch in a game or something, like, whoa, and now he's got like, some OBJ shit, and now he's got hundreds of thousands of followers, maybe like 2 million followers on Instagram or something. This athlete, and somebody wants to follow his whole career. It's like, this is the number 1 rated high school player. He's got 5 million followers on Instagram. He can't monetize that because the NCAA is a governing body that shouldn't exist. It's just
Lamar Jackson sold more Louisville Cardinal tickets than any player in school history ever did and ever will.
Yeah.
They should just call that motherfucker season tickets Jackson, because those were the only years that the Louisville games had been sold out ever. I remember watching Louisville. I grew up a Rutgers fan through like high school and young adulthood. I don't know. I liked Ray Rice.
Schiano?
I like Schiano. I like Brian Leonard. Yeah. So anyway, I remember watching Louisville play Rutgers, and they had nobody in the stands for those games. Not a single person. Like Teddy Bridgewater came out, who's a pretty good quarterback out of Louisville, and they were just like, I don't know, he wears gloves. He's probably a kicker in the NFL. We don't think he's a real, no respect on any player from Louisville's game. And even on Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson literally like put up video game numbers in college, and they were like, I don't know. I don't even know if this kid can play.
Have you thought about receiver, kid?
Yeah, I mean, if Lamar Jackson plays quarterback in this league at any kind of high level, call me a pickled faggot. You know what I'm saying, Jim? And it's like that literally next year.
That's right,
like,
Jim. If you,
it's just I can't. The level of disrespect on college athletes across the board, not just in the way they're treated like livestock when they come out of the draft, but the way they're treated while they're producing for their colleges. I agree with you 100%. I think the whole thing needs to be upset, and it's like a form of that is more a form of slavery than the NFL for sure, because these kids, they're basically forced into this situation to produce and perform. And the ransom is, well, if you don't get an education. And
on top of that, I don't think regular students understand the money that they bring in.
The other thing that I thought, I don't think
that. So like, if you look around on a college campus, right, and you're going into your fucking, science class or whatever the fuck, and you look up and you're like, ooh, look at the brand new engineering building. Do you think your fucking tuition paid for that? Or do you think it was the fucking $3.75 million bonus you got from the bowl game? Or do you think it was you know what I mean? Like, you think your fucking little bullshit tuition is paying for? No, that's not what's paying. That's paying for the goddamn administrative staff. Your 90,000 or your fucking 60,000 your parents are paying. You're paying somebody's salary.
Right.
The new buildings that go up, that's from the TV contracts.
Right. For the football teams.
If you're a losing team that goes to play winning teams and they play $600,000 to play a mediocre team, they pay you $1.5 million to play them.
Yeah, there's a reason why JUCO football teams still have bomb ass uniforms, and then they're literally their campuses look like third world country. Where like children who are being taught by white people in Haiti would go.
About portables and like
they're just like
a Tebow book on ministries.
You literally like you go to a JUCO college and it's like, our school is a series of trailers, and then you go out to where they play football and it's the fucking Silver Dome, and you're like, how in the fuck? And they have all of the money. The school has $12. We give 17 of it to football.
So basically, our budget consists of about $18 million.
Yeah.
And the school...
46 million of which goes to football.
It's heavily funded, where we have $16 million goes directly to the football program. And we have signed $2 million that goes to my salary.
Yeah.
And we have $1.50 that goes right back to canvas. The rest is all paid for with tuition.
You watch and you think regular NCAA football is bad. Watch Last Chance U. They're like, I'm sorry, did you smoke pot once at Auburn? Oh, we own your ass. You about to put up 72 touchdowns for nothing. Because you can't even play in Division I.
We'll give people a new idea of like, dude, they're busting their ass to go play for the opportunity to go play for free.
Yeah, imagine if slavery had a farm team. No like pun intended. If they're literally like, listen, we'd love for you to pick cotton up here at the big house, but there's actually a pig fucking trough down by the creek. That's where y'all gonna learn at.
Hey, now I know you big, old strong boy. And I know you can plow this field. I know you can do everything that I ask of you. I think I got a better place for you. Now,
I like that you're channeling Matthew McConaughey.
No,
is this a slave owner or is this a Lincoln ad? What am I watching?
Well, a couple of the boys run a team. And on this team is athletes. And these athletes play against other plantations. And the game I'm talking about is football. It's just like the really longest yard. It's like
this is the real longest yard. 100%. It's pretty gross. It's pretty gross. I mean, when you look at players like Trevor Lawrence, with what Trevor Lawrence has done in Clemson, the kind of money he's made, not just the University of Clemson, but the state of South Carolina.
And I'm tired of them breaking records. Going, this is something a quarterback's never done. He's thrown 50 touchdowns in 3 straight seasons. I'm like, yeah, pay him.
Right.
You're selling his jersey as we speak. Get the all-time Clemson greatest hits of the season 2020. It's Sports Illustrated. They're the champions. Get a championship ball. Get a championship.
And they get none of that. They get none of that. They get zero of that.
No, you get suspended if you sell your own jersey. Remember Terrell Pryor?
Oh, yeah. Sold his own jersey. And
who else did? Todd Gurley?
Yep. That's why Terrell Pryor wasn't able to be drafted. He was taken in the supplemental draft that year.
Yeah, just because of his own shit. You're telling me the NCAA shouldn't be fucking abolished? Look at Terrell Pryor. That's a guy that they go, maybe you should play wide receiver, and he actually did.
And he was pretty good.
Yeah. But
he was also okay at quarterback. He just played for the Raiders, unfortunately.
That should let everybody know right then and there, though, that it should be done. There shouldn't be any more question. Be like, why do we have the NCAA? First of all, they're supposed to be the ones who give the championship away. They're supposed to award a champion. When's the last time the NCAA awarded a football champion?
I don't know.
Before the BCS? Now there's a playoff. The NCAA doesn't award shit.
Right.
The college football playoff committee does. Before that, it was the BCS committee. It's like, I don't understand what they do. They're the mafia. If I told you had a job and you was like, cool, you were like, but here's the thing about the job, 20% of your money goes to me. You're like, what the fuck? Why? Like, well,
and then 80%, and then 80% goes back to the factory, and you're like, wait, what? That's 100%.
And you're like, and guess what? 80% goes to the fucking company you work for. And you're like, well, how do I get paid? And it's like, dude, you're getting an education and a place to sleep and some food in your stomach.
So then don't you wonder?
I'm an indentured servant.
And then people wonder why a guy like Andrew Luck gets to 29 and goes, fuck off. Right? Andrew Luck was what, a 5-year starter at Stanford, which also has pretty high academic standards. So you got to be that level student, that level athlete. He was that way for 5 years.
When he was playing at the NFL, I really didn't see interviews with him when he was like a freshman, sophomore and shit. They didn't really interview him much. I thought he was like a gangster. I was like, who is this fucking white dude playing? Because remember who Toby Gerhardt was, the running back.
Yeah, he was a savage.
I thought they was just fucking. I was like, they got some bad fucking crackers at that school. Like, that is insane. Dude, each of them were running like 200 yards on shit. Toby Gerhart had 204 yards on like Notre Dame and USC.
Yeah.
Like just running on them. And then fucking Andrew Luck was like, oh, that guy graduated. I'll run. And then he started balling on people.
Yeah, and people forget how good he was. You know, and I just saw an article the other day that they interviewed Jim Irsay, and they were like, so do you really think the door is closed on Andrew Luck playing football? He's like, yeah, I just typed in Andrew Lunch in case you guys didn't know how fat I was.
What showed up? Andrew Zimmern food?
No, he's Andrew. He's 31 now. And 2 days ago, Indianapolis Colts boss Jim Irsay rules out quarterback's return. Well, you and I talked about the fact, and I still think this could happen. If Oliver Luck stays involved with the XFL, I think you'll eventually see Andrew Luck somehow involved with the XFL. But
Coach, hey, I'm really glad to be here, and it's been so fun, and I just love it. And
that's a guy who sounds like that's a guy who talks like he still has your balls in the back of his throat while he's speaking.
No, that's this.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for the correction. Any hope has been extinguished. I like that the Colts are, this is how much disrespect exists in the Colts. You let Peyton Manning go, right? Because you're going to draft Andrew Luck. And then Phillip Rivers is winning games. Your team is, I think, in the lead of your division or definitely at the top. I think they're at the top of that division. And you're going like, any chance Andrew Luck might come back and play? Like Phillip Rivers is just like, you guys go fuck yourselves, right? And that's how much they just don't even care about football in Indianapolis. They're like, listen, we got our 500 and we got that St. Elmo Steakhouse and everything else is secondary.
Secondary.
That's yeah. You could play on the line, you can play in the secondary.
Man, this here program was good.
So
program.
Good topics this week, man. I thought we covered some good stuff. We covered our diversity. We talked about how Philadelphia both loves and hates black people. We talked about how bitches don't belong in football in any capacity. No, just kidding. We just didn't say that, but we just put it in at the end.
Dude,
we talked about how bitches don't belong in any capacity.
Logic and strategy and play calling and things like that. I think women could be phenomenal coaches. I really do. Playing, absolutely 100% not.
Yeah.
That's how I
feel.
Yeah,
and what is more womanly than to just go on a field and tell a man how to do it?
Exactly. Oh my God. I don't understand why there's not like this big move for like who wants to play anyways when you can coach?
Yeah. Exactly.
And there's just like chicks just drawing up plays and something like, all right, stupid, let's see your play call. And you're like, damn, dude, she really cut to the core of me. Like, and you're not going to talk back because it's like, dog, that's a female, dog. You ain't going.
Yeah, that's the number one. That's the number one job for women in every country in the world throughout the history of time is, you know what you should do? That's their job. That's their job. I don't care what her title on her desk says. Every woman has the job of, you know what you should do? You should do this. And then, the best part, the best part about having women as coaches
head coach is something else though.
Yeah. Oh, I was the head coach at my sorority. And let me tell you, we were invited to all the parties. Yeah. Do you have any head coaching experience? Oh my God, boy, I was the player coach. You know how Mario Lemieux owned the team, played for the team, and coached the team? I do that. As she just would that girl's first press conference, she just shoves the mic all the way into the back of her throat. Which would still be less creepy than Adam Gase's introductory press conference.
These were good topics. I think we did okay in covering them.
We did a little bit of work this week. We said, hey, what are some things we should talk about? Let's collect stories. Also, what was I going to say? How did nobody? Maybe I wasn't on Twitter for this, but how did nobody call out like just if you were a football player and you were playing against Vanderbilt in the last 3 weeks, wouldn't you just have the best shit talk ever? Like, apparently Vanderbilt is the opposite of Peterbilt.
Hey, why don't you bring your little bitch out here and have her kick a little ball, man?
Right, man.
What you doing out here, boy? Someone block this shit. Boy, I'm coming right here, boy. Someone block this shit. Fuck wrong with y'all.
Oh my god, it's so funny. I was made this observation.
Yeah, I'm gonna block the fuck out this shit.
Yeah, I made this observation watching commercials this past weekend where I said, you ever notice how all the couples in commercials now are interracial? However, they're only one kind of interracial. It's all white men with black women, because the opposite is still terrifying to America.
I've actually seen a lot of them because they still have white women involved. There's no white men in any of the commercials.
Oh, I've seen the opposite. I've seen all white men and sassy black women. I haven't seen any like dieseled out black men and snow bunnies, which is the side of the NCAA that nobody wants anybody to see because America's still terrified of that. But
which is the majority of relationships.
But in college football right now, they were like, don't talk shit to her, we'll all get canceled. And there was one black dude out there who was like, girl, I'ma split your asshole
something nasty
straight up in half. Like, there was one guy who didn't get the message, who was like, I'm talking shit to this bitch. Listen, I ain't playing the NFL no way, no how. I ain't got the grades. We at Vanderbilt.
I got a penalty for profanity before.
Did you?
Yeah, I guess I didn't know that there was a fucking memo given out. I guess I wasn't paying attention, because I didn't really care. But the refs had told our coaches that like they're gonna stop cussing and they're gonna stop, which is weird. And I hit this dude so hard that he fell down. Like it was just a straight punch, just like bah.
Isn't that called a pancake?
But I didn't drive him like that. I just hit him. So you're saying it was more of a flapjack? Nice. It was a lineman. I just a regular punch. My power step down.
It was a crepe Suzette. I got it.
But while I hit him, I could tell he was falling down. So the impact was like, and I just said, "Bitch," and they just threw a 15-yard penalty on me.
Really?
And I was like, "What the fuck?"
Was it a woman? Is that why? Were you playing Vanderbilt?
But I was gonna say, I can't imagine the shit that would be saying out there, and they'd be like, "All right, no more shit talking, and we're giving you guys penalties." I'm like, fuck
15
that.
yards for toxic
masculinity.
Yeah. I just be out there, girl. You gonna need all the Vagisil after this game. We gonna get in that ass. She's like, that's not even the hole that goes in. And they're like, I don't know shit about shit.
I wish she was like a badass and was like, bitch, I'll nail this from 57. Fuck you mean.
Yeah, it'd be great if she were good. If she were good.
If they just wheeled her out as like a weapon, if she was like dope as fuck, everyone would celebrate that.
Yeah.
Because you'd be like, yo, fuck that, dude. This is like some rookie of the year shit. This bitch can belt it. Watch.
Yeah.
And then like you bring her out, you'd be like, damn, okay, click. Then everybody would be trying to block it. Bro, how many people would just be like, I'll take the penalty. I'm finna rough this hoe. She ain't about to kick no 57-yarder on us.
When a girl gets into the NFL, I don't want her to be a girl who's like, I play soccer and, I'm like to break barriers and I want to shatter the glass ceiling. I want a girl who's like, I wish a motherfucker would. Like, I want that girl in the NFL. Oh, you gonna come in my ass? I wish a motherfucker would. Like, I want that girl in the NFL.
My brother graduated in 2003, and in his class in my high school, they had a girl kicker, and they let her like play linebacker sometimes, kind of. This bitch was like hillbilly tough.
Yeah.
Like hillbilly tough. And I told you, I played in South Florida, so this bitch, her name was Beth Locklear, which sounds like a fucking, like you was raised in a linebacker. It sounds like, Icebox, right? Icebox Becky. It was Beth Locklear. That bitch was, you was like, yo. And she had a gap teeth like this.
Oh, shit.
She was like, yo. That bitch mean. She got clocked a few times, though. And that shit is funny, bro. Like, I don't care. I don't care how you slice it. That shit is hilarious when you see it.
Yeah, how do titties react to getting hit under the shoulder pad? That's what I want to know.
I'm saying, like, O lineman got tits and shit. The shoulder pads just kind of like hold them in.
I just picture a woman's shoulder pads pushing her shit up like this to where her pads are like
their legs and arms and shit. That's different.
Yeah,
like their legs and arms is running for aim. Like, you know what? That shit funny. She's like running down the field, and then you see her like, you be like, head on a swivel. Bam! You like, God.
Do you remember the old Ironhead or not Ironhead Hayward, but the Terry Tate office linebacker commercials
where he would just tackle people in the office?
He'd be like, yeah, and he would just like fuck people up. He'd be like, you ain't got time for it, baby. Did we lose you, Carl? Yeah. Terry Tate office linebacker. This is this is probably like too old for people to remember what this was. But these were the funniest fucking commercials ever.
It's not that old, is it?
I'll play. Yeah, dude, these are from like 2005. I'll play this shit and we'll get out of here. This is funny.
Hey, I tell you. Yeah, what a crowd.
Here we go.
Oh, nice. Why does 05 look like 1992? That fool was just fucking people up too. Office.
This is why I don't believe in racism. I assumed this was the white working environment for many years.
It's like, you guys don't have a Terry Tate? All right. Let's see. What are we doing? Interviewing Stipe. Nice. Stipe Miocic. Fuck y'all. Yeah, it was good. Do you have any
there's one where hold on, there's one where Terry Tate tackles a woman. I'm trying to find it.
He's like, boy, you better put that in recycling. I got it. He's out here bullying people and shit.
Yeah, it's the best.
I thought that's how all jobs were. By the way, the only thing they teach you in college is football.
Yeah.
I got kicked off the team one time for going to an accounting review on a Saturday instead of practice. I was like, Coach, I thought I was a student athlete. And they were like, get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. Did you just say you was going to fuck an athlete?
I don't know if you could tell, but I'm pretty skinny, huh? Nice.
Yeah. I
gotta make this dinner. My timer just went off. I know it's sad.
I thought you had to shit. I thought that's why you were squirming around in your seat.
No, I also have a bad back. That sounds so fat.
I know. Well, good stuff. Yeah, it was a good episode, man. We'll do it again a week from now. People tune in. Big Uglies, Monday nights. And the podcast feed will be up soon, so you'll be able to listen to these in archive, long form or whatever. And
Vidal Sassoon.
Yeah,
what?
Man.
All right, guys.
All right, take it easy.